Hello there and a very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Dasnia Thadar, and let's start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
Aggressive caterpillar species known as Sena caused severe damages to 33,000 hectares of land. Anunayakas of the Malwatu and Asgiri chapters question as to whether priority should be given to the constitution or the problems of the people. The aircraft that consumes millions of rupees due to an agreement cancelled following recommendations of the Prime Minister. Registration for Platinum Awards begins.
Sri Lankan farmers are facing a new threat amidst the many hardships that prevented them from cultivating the past few seasons. The latest disaster to the agriculture of Sri Lanka, the Sena caterpillar, has already ruined more than 100 varieties of plants in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka first heard about this variety of caterpillar in October last year. Newsfirst reported on how the caterpillar was rapidly consuming corn cultivation of Sri Lanka in the past few months and how this was further burdening the farmers.
We are left with nothing. It is the same with everything we cultivate. The caterpillar destroys everything.
The damaged area of farmland due to this disaster exceeds 33,000 hectares. The authorities are yet to provide a solution to this crisis, and the Sri Lankan farmers are left helpless with scattered livelihoods.
We have no way of living. We obtained so many loans to do this, and now we cannot even pay back the loans. There is no one to take responsibility.
Farmers in Ampara who were battered by the drought for the past 4 seasons began their cultivation this season with a lot of hope. But they are now facing severe difficulties due to the constant threat of the Sena caterpillar. They are speaking of a constitution, but what benefit do we have from that? We are facing problems because we can't cultivate. The constitution is good for them but not for us. Nobody has come to see us. Our entire cultivation has been destroyed. We have no way of feeding our children or sending them to school. We are helpless. Not a single politician came here to see how we are coping up with this. Minister of Agriculture, this is for your attention.
Sources from both the Central Bank and Finance Ministry said on Friday that Sri Lanka has arranged $1 billion to repay a 5-year sovereign bond maturing this week, partly from its declining reserves.
The Ministry of Finance has taken steps to repay $1 billion for a maturing Eurobond, which was issued during 2014 government. According to Reuters, Sri Lanka has a total debt repayment of $5.9 billion during 2019, out of which $2.6 billion must be repaid within the first 3 months of this year. It further highlighted that the $1 billion repayment is the largest debt installment that the government of Sri Lanka has ever incurred. Originally, the island nation's 3 state banks were to borrow up to $1 billion from foreign sources before the end of 2018 to pay off the loan. A government official who is aware of the repayment details told Reuters, asking not to be identified, quote, "We could not raise the whole $1 billion through state banks, so the reserves also will have to be used to fill the gap," unquote. He decided to comment on how much of the reserves would be used for the repayment. A finance ministry official also confirmed that reserves will be used to settle part of the bond. Meanwhile, a group, including Finance Minister Mangala Samravira and Non-Cabinet Minister Harsha De Silva, are in Washington, D.C. to hold discussions with the IMF. Non-Cabinet Minister Harsha De Silva tweeted that discussions with the IMF Managing Director Christine Lagarde will be rescheduled due to prevailing weather conditions in Washington. The Finance Ministry previously informed that discussions with the IMF will focus on obtaining the final tranche of the extended loan facility provided by the IMF. When Mahinda Rajapaksa took over as president in 2005, Sri Lanka had a total unsettled debt of 2 trillion rupees. When he left in power in 2015, following 10 years of presidency, Sri Lanka's total debt burden increased to 7.39 trillion rupees. 4 years after the present government came into power, Sri Lanka's total debt burden had increased further to 11.2 trillion rupees. It is clear, while Mahinda Rajapaksa had obtained a large number of loans in the 10 years that he was in power, the current government has obtained a sum that is closer to the sum obtained by Mahinda Rajapaksa in the 4 years that they have been in power.
New revelations have come to light that divulging Chinese loans are not the main source of the debt trap Sri Lanka is caught in.
Sri Lanka's total external debt exposure is not held mainly by China. First of all, China holds less than 15% of Sri Lanka's total external debt. Almost 50% is in fact held by international financial markets and sovereign bonds. Second, Sri Lanka's debt to China has been coming in at around 2% for the last 5-6 years, whereas international sovereign bonds are costing over 6%, 6.29% on a weighted average to be exact, up to the end of 2017. Thirdly, China's debt has longer cycles of about 19 years on average, whereas sovereign bonds have a cycle of 7 years, which makes Chinese debt cheaper, easier to recycle, and not a large quantum of our total debt. So Sri Lanka does have a debt problem. That problem has to do with the cost of debt, not just the quantity of debt. Neither in quantity nor in cost can China be considered to be the biggest problem.
Sri Lankan Airlines continues to pay over 100 million rupees on a monthly basis for an unused aircraft that is currently parked at the Katunayake airport. The airline's trade unions say that this loss is the result of wrong decision-making in the process of procuring new aircrafts to the national carrier.
In 2013, Sri Lankan had formed an agreement with an aircraft leasing company named AirCap to purchase 4 A350-900 type planes and lease another 3. Whilst the order to manufacture the 4 aircraft had already been given to the foreign company, following the change in government, the present government decided to cancel this agreement. Whilst the government was compelled to pay $98 million to AirCap as compensation for the cancellation of this order, the cancellation agreement also included a few more conditions. As a consequence of the cancellation, then CEO of Sri Lankan, Suren Ratwatta, agreed to the procurement of an A330-200 aircraft.
Sri Lankan Airlines agreed to purchase an aircraft that every other airline company refused to do so. After signing the agreement, the respective aircraft was brought to the Katunayake airport 6 months ago. However, since then, this aircraft was never used for a single flight. The government has already wasted millions of public funds to maintain this aircraft. Public funds with nearly 100 million rupees is spent on this aircraft every month. This aircraft has been named a Christmas tree. Spare parts are taken from the aircraft and used for other aircrafts. This aircraft has become a huge burden to us. The value of this airplane is $137 million and we have already paid $98 million as compensation. If we spend another 35 to 40 million, we could have purchased a brand new aircraft.
Whilst a vast sum of money was spent on cancelling the deal and another 100 million rupees is being wasted every month on an unused aeroplane, the manner in which this agreement was reached is also astounding. An email addressed to the chairman by then CEO Ratwatta, dated 3rd October 2016, reveals that the Prime Minister had recommended that the former CEO should advise the chairman to proceed with the respective transaction.
On the 7th of November, the President had informed the Prime Minister that Cabinet approval needs to be obtained for the cancellation of this agreement and had requested that a Cabinet memorandum be presented to the Cabinet. On the 17th of November, the Prime Minister's office had informed the Ministry of Enterprise Development, under which Sri Lankan Airlines then operated, to present this Cabinet memo. However, all of this was done after the agreement was cancelled. The agreement was cancelled on the 4th of October 2016. On the day before, then Chairman Ajit Dias sent an email to several addresses, including an email to ravikaru@kabirah@gmail.com and other 2 email addresses, informing that the Prime Minister had decided to cancel the agreement. It is clear that the cancellation of this agreement did not take place legally and was through the direct intervention of the Prime Minister. A professor named Rajan Sara joined the discussion. This individual also participated at the meetings held to cancel the agreement. He is not a member of the Ministry of Finance and Planning. In that case, he is a minister's friend who participated at a meeting which was to cancel an agreement that was wasting public funds of a taxpayer. This reveals that this was a suspicious transaction. Our country is the only country in the world that took a commission to even cancel an agreement.
An email sent by then CEO Ratwatta reveals that this transaction that cost our country billions in losses was due to the recommendation of the Prime Minister. Incidentally, it must also be noted that it was the Prime Minister's recommendation to implement an auction system to issue treasury bonds in 2015, which resulted in perhaps the largest bond scandal in the history of Sri Lanka. When cronies are appointed to responsible positions and procedures are changed as per their whim and fancy, isn't it the people of this nation who suffer in the end?
I do not know whether the Prime Minister has lost his mind. I do not know what he is thinking. Even he is unaware as to what he is doing. The people in the government are also unaware as to what is going on. If they receive some money, they will take that money and raise their hands for anything. All the people who go there want to live rather than make the country better.
Daily Mirror newspaper reported today that the United National Party had denied involvement in protests that were staged against the media institutions last week.
The newspaper, quoting a statement from the party, said the protests were launched by social activists. The statement read the whole goal was to safeguard people's sovereignty post-October 26 last year. The Weekend Island newspaper also reported yesterday that UNP has denied any involvement in the protests carried out by some social activist groups opposite several media institutions in Colombo on Thursday. However, do you recall the statement made by the Prime Minister in Parliament?
I think MP Vijay Muni Soisa is very fortunate. Do you think he will be able to collect 100 million by suing all media institutions? What if 10 million is received from each media institution? There are 3 or 4 of them. This is what you call black media. I believe we have proposed today that a debate be held in January regarding the black media, and we must name all of them from top to bottom.
The NGO Dollar Gang, who arrived at the media organizations on Thursday, also said that the black media should be condemned. Although the United National Party issued statements saying that the party is not involved, people of this country are aware of what's happening. The NGO Dollar Gang are now using the social media as a platform to criticize. We would like to remind you that we will not hesitate to take legal action against the NGO Dollar Gang who are slinging mud at the media organizations. We report, you decide.
Be a part of WeForce this Saturday, 19th January at 9 AM at the Kinivita Junior School in Dadigama, Kegol. All of us, together, can illuminate the lives of hundreds of students, our future generation. Register with WeForce today.
WeForce.
Still in local news, the Inspector General of Police Pujija Sundara was summoned to the Government Analysts Department today.
The IGP visited Government Analysis Department today to provide a voice sample in connection with the ongoing investigation into the alleged plot to assassinate several VIPs as revealed by an individual known as Namal Kumara. The IGP visited the department today in line with the recent court order.
මේක සම්බන්ධයෙන් පොලිසිය මාධ්‍ය ප්‍රකාශක තුමා සිල් විස්තර කියයි. හොඳයි. කොහොමද මේ පරීක්ෂණ මේ කටයුතු සඳහා ඒ කියන්නේ ඔබතුමා කැඳවීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් අදාළ නැත. ඒක නාමල් කුමාර පිළිබඳ ඔබතුමාගේ අදහස? මට අදාළ නැත. දැන් එහෙම නෙමෙයි ආන්නේ දැන් මේ පරීක්ෂණ මේ සඳහා කැඳවීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් පොලිස් පදවියේ හැටියට කොහොමද අපි පොඩ්ඩක් උත්තරයක් දෙන්න.
A discussion took place about the presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna during the weekend. 2 different statements made by the former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Basil Rajapaksa led to this discussion.
We have a massive challenge to face. Definitely before this year ends, the president of this country will be from the SLPP. That is certain. We don't predict that. We will definitely do that. This year is of great importance. This is the year we have to hold the presidential election. I am ready if you are ready. There has been no agreement between the current opposition leader and President Maithripala Sirisena. This topic has come to light as a result of the hidden agendas of the enemy forces who are trying to dismantle the good relationship between the political camps of Mahinda Rajapaksa and Maithripala Sirisena.
දැන් ඔය මාතෘකාව කරලියට ගන්නේ. ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මහතා කියනවා ඔහු සූදානම් කියලා ජනාධිපතිවරණය. ඒකේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ නේ. ඒක හොඳයි. ඔබතුමාලත් ඉදිරිපත් කරලා
You don't have to ask me that. We mentioned his name at a time nobody did. I was the first one to suggest Gotabaya Rajapaksa's name. Vasudeva Nanayakkara suggested Chamal Rajapaksa's name. Vimalavira Disanayaka suggested Basil Rajapaksa's name. Basil Rajapaksa suggested Dinesh Gunawardana's name. Dayasiri Jayasekara suggested Maithripala Sirisena's name. We are left with 9 months for the presidential election. The most popular person among our candidates will be presented. No one is disagreeing with that. You only have to hit when the ball comes your way. Both of them identified themselves yesterday. The person that the people are asking for will be given to them by us, including Mahinda Rajapaksa and President Maithripala Sirisena. Both of them are very close friends. Therefore, there is no issue. By reaching into an agreement, we can embark on a fruitful journey in the future.
Moves to introduce a new constitution have been the subject of much controversy in the recent past. The island newspaper reported today that the Minister of Home Affairs, Wajira Abewardena, had stated that the proposed constitution would be stronger than the 1978 constitution.
The Minister of Home Affairs, Wajira Abewardena, also stated that certain sections were attempting to instill fear into the people about the proposed constitutional reforms. The island newspaper also reported the minister, in a speech he made in Galle, also promised they wouldn't let any harmful clauses to be passed. How can you know if the people are for the constitution if it is only put through the parliament by committees? How can you work without knowing if the people are for or against the constitution by going for a referendum or by other means? We have told the president both in Kandy and in the president's house that as the president he needs to retain his executive powers. It has now come to a situation that a minister cannot be sent to the parliament. Why do we appoint representatives who should bow down to whatever is said and done and would dance to the tune of others? They speak as if their constitution would see the parliament electing the president. This is something dangerous. If such a situation is brought upon the topmost position in the country, it cannot be termed as something good.
Western Province Governor Azad Sali met with the Mayor of Colombo, Rosi Senanayaka, today.
The meeting was held at the Governor's office in Sri Jayawardenepura Kotte. Whilst the Mayor of Colombo had congratulated Azad Sali on his appointment as Governor, the duo had also discussed traffic congestion in Colombo, road development and the eradication of the drug menace.
The city must be cleaned up. We must maintain a beautiful city. When you take the international cricket venues, even the Oval and the Kettarama, the situation is the same. It is in a very sorry state. This must be done by the police and the municipal council. I reminded the mayor of this. If we can put a stop to the sale of drugs in front of schools and introduce discipline on the matter, of road traffic and the fact that buses and three-wheelers are driven everywhere, then it will be a major victory. We have asked Minister Talatatu Korala to establish several mobile courts for us so that wrongdoers can be punished on the spot. If they are stuck with one fine, they will not make the same mistake for the rest of their lives. We see now that even the dogs in our country use the crossings on the roads, even the cattle, but the people do not. We need a program to change this mindset. It is pointless to discuss that. This is being done by a group of rogues who are incapable of doing anything themselves. How long has Azad Saleh been in politics? I entered politics in 1982 and have been contesting since 1991. To date, no one has pointed the finger and accused me of wrongdoing. Mahinda Rajapaksa got 18 people to go and arrest me because I said one word, and they searched for me at the municipal council. Those people won't be able to touch a hair of Azad Saleh.
On a duty level, we discussed many tasks that needed to be implemented in the Colombo city. The Colombo Municipal Council is facing many issues. I spoke with the governor regarding resolving these issues.
State Minister Ashok Abesinghe expressed the following views during a media briefing held in Kurunegala today.
We have not been informed officially. Sajid Premadasa celebrated his birthday on the 12th of this month. Sajid Premadasa is the deputy leader of the United National Party and is the most popular leader in our party. The current leader of the UNP, Ranil Wickremesinghe, along with the working committee and a group of MPs, will decide in the near future who will contest at the next election and who will take over the leadership of our party. There are various opinions among the members of our party. As a UNP MP, I believe that our leader Ranil Wickremesinghe will make a decision, as we must win all elections in the future. No, as you say, if he contests at presidential elections, it is Ranil Wickremesinghe who will take over as Prime Minister. According to the current constitution, the President has less powers. The Prime Minister has more powers, so there will be no issue.
The Samata Sevena housing mobile service was carried out in Modravana Okevela in Hambantota. The event was held today under the auspices of Minister of Housing, Construction and Cultural Affairs and the Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Sajid Premadasa.
Visiri Nivasa loans worth 132 million rupees were distributed to 600 low-income earning families in line with the mobile service today. The minister also distributed Sonduru Piyasa housing loans worth 8 million rupees to 40 families, 7 donations worth 4.5 million rupees to 10 beneficiaries, and professional equipment worth 3.6 million rupees to 94 apprentices under the Shilpa Savya program. We economically use state funds for the well-being of the people, and that is the responsibility of the guardians of this country. Do you know how the guardians of the country acted during the recent past? We do not possess qualities of thievery and fraud. From the time we wake up in the morning to night, we think about bringing development to the people of this country.
New Governor of the Southern Province Kirti Thennakoon and the new Governor of the Uva Province Attorney-at-Law Marshall Pereira assumed duties in their new roles today.
The Southern Province Governor assumed duties at the Governor's office in Gaul.
The highest number of unemployed graduates are reported from the Southern Province. The countries who are behind us are now far ahead of us, and that is because they know how to move forward together and we do not. I'd like to say that I will make the Southern Province the most preferred province in the country.
Meanwhile, the new Governor of the Uva Province, Attorney-at-Law Marshall Pereira, assumed duties at the office in Badulla today.
In a study performed, the Colombo city has been named the must-photograph travel destination of 2019.
Research shows that 1.3 million social media posts show that the Asian city is the location travelers most want to take a picture of, followed by Yokohama in Japan and Gorilla National Park in Uganda. The Isles of Harris in Scotland also made the list, along with Baden-Baden in Germany's Black Forest.
Platinum Awards 2018, a one-of-a-kind award ceremony to commend, recognize and award Sri Lanka's talented sportsmen and women, organized by a private media network. A media briefing regarding Platinum Awards 2018 was held this evening.
The Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited proudly held their first Platinum Award ceremony in 2014. The third edition of the award ceremony will be held on the 29th of March at the Science Studio Complex in Ratmalana. The award will focus on the talents showcased by the sportsmen and women nationally and internationally from December 2017 to December 2018. 20 sportswomen and women will be awarded and 10 medals will be provided. The Platinum Award, which is a lifetime award, will also be awarded to an exemplary sportsman or sportswoman. The world-famous insurance provider Allianz Insurance has partnered with Sports First for this year's Platinum Awards. The media briefing regarding Platinum Awards was held at the Sports Ministry.
Sports First Allianz Platinum Awards 2018.
Minister of Sports Harin Fernando, Deputy Education Director of the Ministry of Education Athula Vijayawardana, Chairman of the Jury of Platinum Awards Kishu Gomez, Dennis Hevagama, the CMO of Allianz Insurance, and Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited attended the event.
This is something that should be done by the Ministry of Sports. I am thankful to Sirasa MTV Channel Private Limited for the fact that a media organisation is doing this. When you take a look at the Sports Ministry, there are 64 sports in the country. There are too many sports in the country. When there are 64 sports in the country, the sportsmen and women are lost. There are talent that do not come up, but institutions like this look for sportsmen and women and show them to us as well. I am grateful to the service provided by this media network as a sports channel in a day and age where there is no sports channel in the country.
A couple of years ago, when the chairman, Mr. Rajamahendran, spoke to me and our team and mentioned that we should recognize and feat sporting heroes, it didn't come as a surprise to any of us because the Maharaj organization believes in that champion ethos. Sports is in our DNA. I would also like to recognize the fact that none of this would be possible without having the right partner. People who believe in a dream. People who stand on principle. And that's why I'd like to mention the sponsorship by Allianz Insurance.
When this opportunity came to us to be a part of the Platinum Award, I think we as an insurance company, as a provider, to be amongst all sportsmen, to select, to go to nick and corner of each part of the country, to recognize our sportsmen and women. I think it's a wonderful start as MTB has started 3 years back. So I think going forward, Allianz will continue to be a part of this event.
We leave you tonight with the views expressed by Chamal Rajapaksa. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Dasni Athada. Good night.
ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මහත්තයා කියලා ඊයේ යම් විහියක් දුන්නා.
ගෝඨාභය මහත්තයා කිව්වේ තමුන්නාන්සලා සූදානම් මමත් සූදානම් කියලා. මමත් සූදානම්. ජයවා. සුදුසුනම